Hey folks, welcome back to the channel. Today's video, we've got something special for you. If you look over my shoulder here, we've got a couple of Sea-Doo Switch boats, a brand new 2024 Sea-Doo Switch 21 Limited, as well as a couple years old Sea-Doo Switch 21 Cruise. And if you recall, a couple months ago, I guess about a year or so ago, we did a restoration on this yellow boat to bring the black plastics back. They had faded kind of chalky. To bring them back to a bit more of their original black color, that luster that they look like when they're brand new. I would say I love the Switch for just about every reason, but there's one thing I don't like about the Switch, is that they're black plastics up on the front here and actually on the back too. If not cared for properly, if not covered properly, there's two steps there. We'll talk about both of those later. They can fade out, and they can fade pretty quickly. We're talking about inside of a year, sometimes even on the dealer's lot still, if they haven't sold in that first year. So today's video, we're going to talk about how to restore that color back to that brand new look, this restoration we're going to do today, and also how to seal it so it doesn't do it again, at least for a couple of 2 or 3 years. So stick with us, got lots to show you. Before we get started, some things you're going to need for this restoration. We recommend first, obviously, cleaning the hull. Get any kind of dirt and debris, salt, whatever on the boat off. Whatever your favorite cleaner is, knock yourself out. We don't recommend alcohol or acetone. Some of that stuff kind of pulls the oils out. We want to try to preserve some of that, so we'll leave those. Just a traditional cleaner is fine. You're going to need to have some kind of cloth to do the prep step, kind of that first stage of getting the surface ready to go. I would recommend some rubber gloves because we're dealing with a fiberglass infused polymer, and those fiberglass fibers can get in your fingers. It's not very comfortable. Next, this is the magic. This is what really makes this whole project possible. We've partnered with a company called Stark Yacht Care. We went out and kind of searched the web over and did quite a lot of research on this, and we really wanted to seek out the very best possible ceramic coat. I didn't want to deal with the cheap stuff that you find on Amazon. I wanted to buy an actual, real, high-dollar, long-lasting quality ceramic coat. So Stark Yacht Care makes a product called Repel Pro, and after having conversations with the owner of the company, we've determined this is the very best product for this application. There are some companies out there that make some products like a ceramic coat. You can find these cheap on Amazon for 20 bucks. Sea-Doo sells a product that's a spray-on, wipe-off product, and those are great if you want to start from day one. If the boat's never seen the sunlight and you want to go on a 3 to 6 month regimen of adding this knockoff ceramic coat, it's not the real deal. It's not legit ceramic coat. There are a lot of competitors out there that have a name that sounds kind of like ceramic coat, but it's not the real deal. So those require application every 3 to 6 months. What we wanted to do is we wanted to restore, but we also wanted to make sure that it doesn't require reapplication. So 2 to 3 years worth of color fastness with a product that's going to last. It's going to be more expensive, probably looking at a couple $100 for a bottle like this, but it's going to last. My time's worth that, to not have to do this all the time, or maybe hire another company to do this all the time. So anyway, we'll put a link in the description below to where you can find this product. It is excellent. We highly, highly, highly recommend it. We're also going to recommend a couple of microfiber towels for the application. And then we're also going to recommend you bring a heat gun along for your job. An extension cord and a heat gun. This is the one we used on our previous video. And if you have marine mat already on your boat, maybe a piece of cardboard just to shield the marine mat from the heat, so that you're not going to melt your marine mat. Here's a pro tip for you. If you have bought a Sea-Doo Switch that had Repel Pro installed at the dealership, or maybe you went ahead and just did that when you got it home, maybe the first thing, prep steps, you went ahead and just put it on, and now you want to add marine mat, it's important to know that marine mat does not stick well to this ceramic coat. Nothing does. It's almost like Teflon. So in order to prep those areas to receive marine mat so that it sticks well and it holds down for a long period of time, there are some things you need to know. All right, well, good. Well, let's talk about the boat real quick. On the left, you'll see a brand new 2024 Switch Limited. You can see the color of all the plastics, how it's nice and true, black. There's no fiberglass fiber showing. It looks really nice. It's been in the shade all of its life. We keep it stored inside of a building. However, this boat has been left out on a boat dock with no cover its whole life. So you can see that you've got a lot of discoloration. You've got some fiberglass fibers. You can actually feel it with your fingers. When you sit on this stuff, you'll get fiberglass fibers in your skin. It's not comfortable. So it's really best to take care of this if you intend on sitting on it. You got a bathing suit on, you got, exposed skin. It's not comfortable to sit on this stuff. So anyway, doing this process is going to knock all that stuff down. You won't have to worry about getting in your skin anymore. Same thing here. You see it's kind of faded. Now what we did on this boat, we went ahead and started on this side. You'll notice the difference. You'll see nice and black over here. Looks like the original new. We've already treated this side with the Repel Pro. We've done the heat treatment. But if you get over to that left side, it's all faded. Let's run around the back. You see in the back here how you got these nice black colors down low that are really not affected by the sunlight, but these fiberglass infused panels, you can start seeing the fibers. And when you run your fingers across it, it's very uncomfortable. Now we've restored on the other side. You can tell our restoration line. We basically restored from here over to about here. So we wanted you to see what to expect once we've actually gotten through this process. Now we're going to show you the process. Let's go ahead and jump into your first steps, right? We're going to spray and clean just so we can get all of the maybe greases or sunscreen or whatever other might be on this boat after it's been used. You'll also notice I'm not really working in these areas that are white or areas that don't get direct sunlight from above because they don't really fade. It's just these things that are kind of sitting on top here that have the need. We've also removed the screws up on top here to open this gate. So this boat did not have our gate kit, so we're gonna work in that area. All right, so we've thoroughly cleaned the area. Now we're gonna go back and we're gonna prep the surface one more time using just an abrasive cloth. We're not gonna use a sandpaper or a Brillo pad or anything like that. We're just gonna use a cloth that's got kind of a thick consistency to it, preferably something that doesn't have lint, so microfiber or lint-free cloth. What we wanna do in this step is we want to come over and knock off any of the exposed fibers, the fiberglass fibers that are probably already sticking out that potentially could puncture your skin. You wanna just rub this stuff hard so that when we go back over with our Repel Pro, we don't have any fiberglass fibers sticking up. Prep is everything when you're doing ceramic coat. So you're gonna spend more time on the prep steps than you will on the actual application of the product. Be aggressive with your rub down at this step. See how my cloth is getting black? I'm actually rubbing off those fibers. All right, so we finished our white down. Our cloth is pretty dirty there. We got a lot of material off. All right, next steps. You want to pull out your bottle of Repel Pro. Now this is a 100 milliliter bottle. You may say that's not a lot. We've already done half of this boat and a second coat on one portion of that, and we've only used about a third of the bottle. So you've got enough to do the boat probably twice, I would think, if you do it right. So maybe you get out of this one bottle, maybe you'll get 6 years, 4 to 6 years out of this one bottle. So yeah, it's $200, but it's gonna last you a long time. All right, lint-free cloth. I'm gonna use the corner of this cloth here, just this corner. And as you apply, we'll be working with little sections as we go. Gonna take your seal. It's gonna have a little wax seal there. This stuff comes out slow. Obviously you don't wanna waste a really high dollar bottle of stuff, so it's made to come out slow. Kind of saturate your rag. All right. I'm gonna come over on this kind of most problematic area. I'm gonna wipe down. This stuff sets in about 3 minutes. So you wanna work kind of quickly with it. I like to work in one straight line like this as opposed to polishing it on. This is the first coat. Just want to be detailed. Apply it evenly and as well as you can to get into tight spaces. We're going to come back after the heat treatment. We're going to do this again. Some of these places, the color is really not that badly faded, but I wanted it to look even on this one, so I'm applying in some areas that are probably still pretty black. All right, so we've applied our Repel Pro. We've waited at least the requisite 3 minutes. It's dried. It's been smoothed, so everything's even. You'll notice on really, really badly faded surfaces, it goes on and makes it somewhat black, but it still looks a little bit like the substrate, so it's a little chalky looking. So the heat step is used to bring that color out, and it brings it out to the backside of that sealed ceramic layer now. So it has a tendency to even the color and make it more smooth and obviously blacker. Let our gun get good and hot here. And we're also got a piece of cardboard just in case we want to protect marine mat or impact graphics or reef wrap. So we'll start right here in this kind of this worst area and we'll work our way around. And we're working at about 1.5 inches distance from the material, moving real slow. It takes a little more heat with this Repel Pro and adhered to the top surface to bring that color out. Trying to move real nice and smooth. I also bumped it up to the 5th setting on my gun here. That's probably pushing closer to 900 degrees. Here. All right, so we just finished our heat treat. We've let the panels cool down. You want them kind of cool to the touch before you start this next step, just to be safe with this Repel Pro. Finally, the last step we're going to do is we're going to do a final top coat, again going back over it with Repel Pro. This is going to give us a nice dark color and one more layer of protection now that we've gone and put that heat on the original layer. What we learned through the process of running the heat gun over the Repel Pro layer, it took a lot more heat to bring that color out than it did on the original application of heat we did a year ago. It was much easier to get the material to come back to a darker black before. We feel like this coating is so thick that it is preventing that material underneath, the black material, from changing colors. It actually is protecting. So it's doing as advertised. We really we're glad to see that in the midst of this job. We also noted that it was not really burning the marine mat, especially when we used that cardboard layer, kind of separating because the marine mat wasn't getting up to temperature to melt. So that was good. Just make sure you use a barrier like a cardboard between the heat and the marine mat, and it prevents it from doing that, from melting. Again, this stuff kind of sets up in about 3 minutes, so you want to move fast, and you also want to make sure that you're applying it evenly so it's not running on you, because once it sets up, boy, it's tough stuff. Nice even strokes. Be careful, this is a glass bottle, so you don't want to drop it. It's helpful to wad your rag up and kind of get down in these cracks because the sunlight can really beat down in these little tight spots here. For those of you that own Sea-Doo switch boats, it's important to do this step if you can day one. Don't wait until your plastics have begun to look chalky and white. Go ahead and do this the day you bring it home, or maybe have your dealer do it. If you are a Sea-Doo switch dealer, it's important for you to understand before your boat ever gets to looking like this, go ahead and pre-treat it with Repel Pro day one. You can charge for that as part of your sales price. It'll be a good thing for your customer so that they don't have to worry about this at least for 2 or 3 years after the fact down the road. All right, well, we've finished our heat treatment, we've finished our Repel Pro application, and the before and after is really pretty profound. Let's start with the new boat. So this is what you can expect the Sea-Doo switch to look like brand new, right out of the wrapper. Nice texture, black color, no exposed fibers. Looks really brand new. This is what it looks like after we've gone over and done the heat treatment as well as the Repel Pro. You can tell it's black, it's glossy. The Repel Pro has dried, and the fibers appear to have been masked. Another note, when I run my hands over this now, there's no fiberglass getting into my fingers. So it encapsulates the fiberglass fibers. You will not find that getting into your skin anymore. Anywhere where you've had trouble with that, this product's gonna seal it and keep it from getting into your skin. If you follow the steps in this video exactly. The manufacturer tells us to give about 24 to 48 hours before you go in the water. Let this cure. 7 days to full cure time, but in the water, I'd say give it 24 to 48 hours. We brought it out here in the sunlight to let you see kind of comparison. I would probably let it cure in the shade, but I don't know if that really matters. That's probably just me, let it cure in the shade. I'm gonna show you real quick here in this portion what to do to prep your boat prior to the restoration port. Also, it's important to know if your swim platform or any of these plastics have faded in color, and you wanna bring that color back, and then you want to add marine mat too. What I would recommend that you do is do the heat step first. So clean, use the heat gun, then add your marine mat, and then go back as a last step and seal with the Repel Pro. This way you don't run the risk of getting the heat too close to the edge of your new marine mat pads. In preparation for marine mat on surfaces that have already had the Repel Pro installed, you're going to make sure you have a 220 grit Scotch-Brite pad. We'll put a link in the description below so you can find this on Amazon or wherever. But make sure that you're using specifically 220 grit, because you're going to need to scuff this up pretty well to make sure that the marine mat adheres well to the surface. I think it's important to note that while you're using the Scotch-Brite pad, you want to really just sand down the areas that are going to have marine mat applied on top of, and try not to get too far outside of those areas because we don't want to change the appearance of areas that don't have marine mat sitting on top. All right, next steps. After you've done your sanding step, go ahead and use just a simple boat cleaner, something that's going to take any oils and greases off the boat, any kind of powder left behind from the sanding. We just want to really do a good job of wiping all that off in preparation for the primer. Primer 94 is an adhesive bond promoter that you can buy off Amazon or places like that. We'll put a link in the description below so you can get some for yourself, but make sure that in this step you are applying your primer to any areas where the adhesive is going to be, especially around the perimeter, so the edges. You can go a little outside of those lines actually if you need to, and then come back later on and remove any exposed primer that you might see with acetone or rubbing alcohol. This step takes just a minute or so, but you're going to have to let it dry for another couple of minutes before sticking on your marine mat pads. If you've got questions about this process at all, I know it was a lot, please comment below. Be glad to answer those questions as we're able. Also, the Repel Pro will be in the JetBoatPilot store. We'll put a link in the description below where you can find Repel Pro at JetBoatPilot.com. By the way, thank you, Stark Yacht Care. Ken, you've been instrumental in teaching us how to use this product. This is an exceptional product. It's going to help a lot of people. And by the way, if you enjoyed watching this video, check this one out.